was very fortunate in being the benefactor of a bequest from Major and Mrs. Hawkins. They are no longer with us, but a member of their family is here today, and we feel it only fitting that we call upon her for remarks on behalf of the family. Please welcome Miss Jo Ellen Litz.
On behalf of the family of Charles and Eva Hawkins, thank you so much for allowing us to share a few words about a lovely couple who really made a significant financial contribution to both this community and this magnificent structure. Uncle Charlie and Aunt Eva weren't always well off. Back in 1989, Mr. Daniel Hess, a teacher at Northern Lebanon High School, assigned a project to do an interview about the Depression years to my daughter Laurie and her friend Linda. They went down, and of course I gave them a ride because they were just in junior high. But during the Depression years, Uncle Charlie and Aunt Eva lived in Pine Grove. They married in 1935. And 2 weeks after they were married, Uncle Charlie lost his job. Laurie asked, "What did you do?" He smiled and said, "Bootlegging mine up at the Lincoln Colliery in Schuylkill County." Then we got dignified and called it independent miners. 1 week, you'd make out real good. And the next week, well, you'd have to find a new vein or a new hole. They'd eat fried potatoes, baked beans. They'd eat vegetables from their garden and eggs. Charlie said when we moved to Lickdale, we used to raise chickens and pigs. I'd get 2 hogs and 100 peeps, and then we'd raise them. Eva chimed in, and we'd sell them to make extra money. They remembered playing hearts and other games like parcheesi and pinochle. They roller skated and ice skated. At Christmas time, Eva recalled, their parents would decorate the tree, and it would always touch the roof. It didn't matter how little money we had, the trees would always touch the ceiling. We didn't have those electric lights. We used to make those paper chains and string popcorn. Our presents were never bought. We made things like little posters, something like that. Chuck said, when the old Depression came along, I'll tell you, it got tougher and tougher. But they remembered good times dancing to the big bands. Guy Lombardo, Tommy Dorsey, Glenn Miller. Chuck said, boy, you danced the soles off your shoes. He taught me how to dance. Glenn Miller was the one that I used to love over there in Pottsville. You went out and you thumbed a ride from Pine Grove to Pottsville. They had 20, 30, or 40 musicians. We were poor, but look what we had. We were really very wealthy in what we were getting and what we got from these things. Everybody was in about the same boat. Eva agreed. Nobody had money, let's face it. It's better to live in a small town. In a big city, you can't raise a garden in your backyard. Chuck mentioned a Mr. Silman who plowed up an acre and gave them seeds. We had a truck patch there, and we raised our own food and helped farms and orchards pick strawberries and things like that. Anything. You'd pick them a bushel, and you'd keep a bushel. Eva added, even in the back of the church, there were blackberries and blueberries that you could pick. And we used to can our own food, so you kept busy. Chuck recalled, I built a potato bin. Eva responded, in a cold cellar. We'd keep them there all winter. In spring, they'd start getting those eyes on them. And when you'd peel them, you'd just take them out back and plant them. Chuck reassured us, though, and you got immense potatoes. I mean, we were never really hurting. We just didn't have that much, but we still enjoyed ourselves. Then they fondly recalled FDR. Eva said, "He made you proud of yourself." Chuck replied, "Everything you got, you had to work for. Be it the WPA, the Works Project Administration, or the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps. They took the young people out and put them in camps, and they cleared the mountains." Eva responded, "Yeah, they were out at the Gap." Chuck continued, "They'd pay you 25 or 35 cents an hour. You were building roads. They got the farmers out of the mud. That's why we have so many paved roads in the state of Pennsylvania, because you were out working. It was relief, but you had to produce. You had to give something. If you want to take a drive, go from Pine Grove to Lickdale on the old road, through a pass in the mountain, and you'll come to a stone wall without any concrete. Dry masonry is what they called it, and it's still standing. Those are the projects they used to do. Oh, they had their old jokes about people standing out there leaning on their shovels, and some of them were even broken. But at least they didn't sit in their houses. They had to go out and work for their money. Nothing was given to you. You didn't get anything for nothing during the Roosevelt administration. Since he served in one of those camps, Chuck spoke from experience. Switching gears to the military, Eva shared, "My brothers were in the National Guard. When we got married, Charlie went on flood duty in 1936. Everybody went into the National Guard to get extra money because there was no work." Charlie continued, "I also went into the National Guard because I wanted to. I loved the uniform. I started out as a Boy Scout. Then I went to the Legion Drum and Bugle Corps in Pine Grove because they had flashy uniforms. I was a drummer boy. But in the back of my mind, from the time I was 12 or 13 years old, I wanted to be a soldier boy. I started going to the movies. They had movies like Long Chain and Tell It to the Movies. And I'd go from one theater to the next and watch the same movies over and over again. And so the military really stuck to me. When I was in the National Guard, they talked me into taking what was called a 10 series, and I became an officer through correspondence. And about the time World War II came along, well, I had to go over there." Eva added, "Chuck went in as a private, worked his way up as an officer, and retired as a major. Of course, in the meantime, we lived all over the world, Japan, Germany, which we both enjoyed. So you may ask yourself, how did they amass a net fortune of over $500,000? Eva said that we went and we paid all our bills, and if we had money left over, we'd put it in the bank, and it'd stay there. You didn't go and write out checks. At least I didn't. If you put money in the bank, it was supposed to stay there and draw interest. That's the way I was brought up." Chuck added, "I had money in stocks and bonds. You see, after the military, Uncle Charlie was a successful businessman, and he had a smile for everyone and got a nickname as Sunshine Charlie." Linda asked the closing question. "If we had a depression today in America, do you think our generation could survive?" Without hesitation, Chuck replied, "Absolutely. Don't sell the people short. This country, in the face of adversity, I should say, they'll come through. I don't care how bad something appears, you'd be amazed." Eva responded, "Sure, Survival's the best, and you're going to survive. Chuck continued, it's the adaptability of the American people. They can sit on top of the world and have all this stuff and lose it all and survive. In closing, we are so proud of Charlie and Eva Hawkins. By using their own words, we hope that you have a better understanding and appreciation of the love these two people shared for both each other and this community, and why they might want to see this magnificent structure erected. Thank you, and God bless the USA. Surely.
Jo Ellen, on behalf of the Pennsylvania Veterans Memorial, I am so deeply honored and proud to present you with a replica number 4. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.